said, well, it's not like I'm going to pay.
I don't know. I'm stuck.
In a way, for a Disney movie, it was kind of
The movie made them very nervous, obviously.
I thought we'd start at the beginning, which is the pitch. Your experience getting your movie made. I know, Jorge, you have kind of a funny pitch experience when you were explaining your movie to Guillermo del Toro. Could you tell us a little bit about what that was like?
So the studio that first got involved was Real Effects, and there was somebody there who knew Guillermo. And later I found out that I pitched the movie to him 5 times, and he had said no. He was just so busy. Eventually, I guess he felt really bad for me. He said, okay, I'll come to my house and pitch it to me one last time so I can say no to you in your face. And so we go over there, we bring all the stuff, and it was one of the worst pitches of all time in the history of pitches. We set up all the stuff. It was like 110 degrees in his house. He was miserable because it was so hot, and I sweat a lot, so I was drenched. And it was right outside his pool area, and so he had like a life-size statue of Ray Harryhausen made out of bronze that I could swear was judging me the whole time, just staring at me. And so as soon as I opened my mouth to pitch, they had told me, you have 20 minutes to pitch him, and he goes, no, you have 5 minutes to pitch me. So the words start coming out of my mouth, and my people in the house next door betray me, and there must have been like 5 lawnmower guys and leaf blower guys, and all at the same time, super loud. And so I look at Guillermo like, we should wait for them to finish. He goes, no, keep going. So I start pitching him, and it's a very heartfelt movie, so I'm yelling all this stuff, like, and then he proposes and all his heart. And so by the end of it, it was a mess, and we go back and we sit down, and he goes, that was one of the worst pitches I've ever seen. So I'm ready to just shake his hand and get out of there. And he goes, but I see magic here. I know who you are. I know you're cartoon, so of course I want to produce your movie. But he put me through the ringer.
Wow. So it really just sticking
I wonder if
it.
he orchestrated all the leaf blowers and the lawnmowers just to put you
Like
through
an obstacle course.
Yeah.
Has anybody else ever had a pitch that went completely awry?
I think we probably all have. If you've spent any time, in story at all, they bombed. Yeah, you have to have bombed. And then they're all, you always run that risk, and you just got to take it as it comes, because it's part of the territory.
Well, I know at Disney you're encouraged to pitch multiple ideas at once, right? And what's the thinking there?
Well, it's something I think John started up at Pixar, where he doesn't want you to kind of put all your emotional eggs in one basket and just be like, this is the only thing that I can see making. I think he likes you to think a little broader than that, and the task of trying to put together 3, it makes you automatically kind of divert your focus into different things, and I think he's found that over the years that there's always one that kind of pops up that as the one that will be, that sparks his interest and he feels like is the one to go forward with. And for Big Hero 6, I think I pitched maybe 6 or 7. It was more than 3. And Big Hero being probably the, if you look around the room, our story rooms, I'd put more work into. As I pitched him around the room, Big Hero's over here. It was the last one I pitched, and I put the least amount of work into. As far as thinking about what we would do with it, just have a very basic pitch. There was very little art. I don't think we did any artwork for it, and it was the last one. But that was the one that I think for him had the emotional center that he felt compelled with.
And did you, at that point, you were encouraged to pitch Marvel properties specifically, right? Or was that one of many other Marvel properties?
Yeah. Because I had a 5-minute conversation with John. He had heard that I was interested in maybe doing something with the Marvel thing, and I said, I think I loved Marvel Comics as a kid. I loved Disney Animation as a kid. What if we could mash those things up? He got very excited. I got very excited, and he said, go find something. I mean, it was literally that simple. And so I just spent a while putting lists together of things that I thought would be good, and based on my own childhood, but also just kind of going into their, they have a pretty amazing sort of wiki page that gives all their characters and all the, the bios on their characters and where they've appeared and that kind of thing. And I found Big Hero 6 there. It was the title that attracted me. I thought it sounded cool. And then I saw, Japanese superhero team, that's super awesome. And I bought the books, and so from there it kind of spun.
Now, I know, Dean, when you signed on to do How to Train Your Dragon 2, it was specifically with the idea that you would get to do a trilogy. Why was that important to you?
Because I think a lot of sequels feel unnecessary, and they tend to recycle material, and a lot of them feel like cash grabs. So to me, it felt like if these things take 3 or 4 years to make, if we're going to invest the time in it, it would be nice to have it feel as though it's got a sense of purpose. And so I pitched the idea of the first movie being a first act in a 3-act story. And the second film would be the meat of Hiccup's coming of age, but then everything would culminate in a very finite, conclusive way with a third installment. And they bought into that because it meant that we could actually develop storylines. Some things that were left unexplained in the first film could take on more importance, but also set up things that must transpire in the third.
Makes sense. I know, Chris, with the Lego movie that's also sort of evolving into other films, spin-off films. Did you envision that when you first came on?
Oh, no.
No?
Not at all. I mean, the fact that it got made at all is kind of a miracle. I mean, they approached us about doing a Lego movie, and we said, no, thank you, originally. Sort of the opposite version of a pitch. Because of the soulish cash grab fear, without it being a sequel already. But then, of course, we went home and started thinking about like those little brick films that people make online, little stop-motion shorts that people make in their basements and post onto YouTube, and they're so clever and have so much creativity. And we thought, well, maybe there's a way to do it that doesn't feel like a giant commercial. And so then we sent an email saying, we still don't want to do it, but if you did it, this is how we would do it. And we sort of beat out a simple story. But we didn't want to consider it. But then Dan Lin, the producer, who had been working with the Lego group, went and hired someone else to write an outline. They wrote an outline. They pitched it to the Lego group, and they didn't like it. And then he said, well, wait, hold on, I've got another idea. Hold on over here. And he found on his BlackBerry the email we had sent him. And they loved that storyline, and so that was what they were going to be willing to make a movie out of. And so then they came back to us saying, hey, would you like to do that? And so then we're like, okay, we'll write something, but we won't really direct it. But then as soon as we started writing it, we fell in love with it and saw the potential that it could have and how special it could be. And so that's how. But when we started, there's no concept that it was going to become anything more than just like a one-off crazy little experiment.
Right.
To try and see if we could get away with it.